This is every single fight to make next after UFC 321, Aspinall versus Gane. I've got all of the key fighters from that card on the screen right now. Some winners, some losers. And you may notice there is an empty box next to all of them. And that's where the next opponent's going to go, who I have hidden around the perimeter of the screen. I'll slowly reveal those opponents one by one as the video goes on and place them where they belong on the screen. Let's start straight away with the main event, or lack thereof. Tom Aspinall gets his eyes gouged out by Ciryl Gane. Happened when he went for the takedown and happened at the end of the fight as well, 4 minutes and 30 seconds in. Ciryl Gane was up by 3 significant strikes, so he was destroying Tom and absolutely obliterating him in that fight. So, dude, Tom's pretty lucky he got his eyes gouged out there because he was behind by 3 strikes, which was absolute. We've never seen anything like that before, okay? But Ciryl Gane had a good performance. And for that reason, listen, if Gane was getting destroyed and then he landed an eye poke, I wouldn't be saying this right now. But we've got to run it back. We have to run this back. And you know what? This might be what's best for the heavyweight division. Hot take, I know. Crazy take. Everyone's going to be trashing Tom. This is what builds storylines. Going into this fight, the storyline was, the heavyweight division's dead. Tom's just going to blitz through the whole division. What's going on? Tom's got no competition. DC was talking to Tom backstage, whispering to him, saying, the run you could go on, you're going to destroy all these guys. Jailton can't fight. How right he was about Jailton, by the way, who can join PFL. That's his next opponent. But now we've got some competitiveness. Gane and Aspinall will not be a minus 300 to Tom Aspinall or higher, whichever it was. This will be Tom as a slight favourite over Ciryl Gane in a rematch that's really competitive that now a lot of people are going to start picking Ciryl Gane for. There's enough evidence to say maybe we could go with Ciryl Gane this time. Even people that would have loved to have picked Ciryl Gane this time round couldn't bring themselves to do it. But now they can, okay? And that's what creates excitement. That's what brings the intrigue. And that's what's going to generate a bit more hype in the heavyweight division. Pereira doesn't want to move up unless it's to fight John. He didn't want to fight Tom. So this is a situation we have at heavyweight where it was going to be Tom versus... If Tom would have won this, it would have been Tom versus Volkov 2. Or if Gane would have won it, it would have been Gane versus Volkov 3. Really tough stuff right now at heavyweight. So I think that the best thing to do would be Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane 2, headline a pay-per-view in March, put a bunch of fights underneath it. I don't know about January or February. I'd love to see it done in January. If Ilia Topuria is not going to be main eventing then, which might be the rumor, because they could be waiting to see what happens with Arman Saruki and Dan Hooker first, and then they'll make Pimlet versus Gaethje. If they're not going to have Ilia on the January card, book this, get it right back in there. If they've got plans for January and February, I know they're doing Volk in Australia in February. If they do have Ilia in January, get Tom and Ciryl Gane in the rematch as the main event of a UFC pay-per-view in March, or a UFC numbered event in March next year, Paramount. Put it on. Big matchup. Bad blood. Ciryl Gane, I poked him. Bully Tom. He's back. A little bit of spite in him next time round. There might be some things to say at a press conference this time round, so I'm not going to have to make up that one. Let's do the rematch between Aspinall and Gane, which will be a lot more competitive in the eyes of everyone going into the matchup now. And people forget, dude, Gane might be a minus 500 favorite the way he was destroying Tom Aspinall by being up by 3 strikes. It was crazy. But either way, it's a lot more competitive of a matchup and a lot more interesting of a matchup. Now that we see how Gane was moving out there, he was looking good. But Tom was also doing all right until he got eye gouged. He even got eye gouged earlier in the fight. But all good. I'm over the eye gouging. I'm not. And I'm coming for everyone tomorrow. Because there's been some people saying some shit. But for now, I'm over it for this video. So Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane 2, the rematch, March pay-per-view. A little long to wait, but it's only just over 4 months. Make it happen. Mackenzie Dern, great cheeks, great performance. Great performance, sorry. Don't know what's next. Zhang Weili, come back. We need you back. I don't know what else there is. I was looking at the rankings. I was thinking, well, we can't do Tatiana Suarez for a belt. That definitely can't fucking happen. Not in a million fucking years. So it looks like we're going to have to do Mackenzie Dern. But Zhang Weili's going to have to come back down and save the division because there's not much else other than this. Unless a new contender emerges, unless we wait for ages and have Suarez fight another fighter and then the winner of that fights Mackenzie Dern a year from now for the belt. Zhang Weili, get that belt off Shevchenko. Whiz back down to strawweight 5 months later. Trim it all off again. and just get rid of Dern and restore some order down here. But Dern might win, and that could be interesting as well. But we can't have this division move on without the champion's presence back down in that division. Speaking of main events, the same situation. But either way, feature fight. Umar Nurmagomedov fought Mario Bautista. Great fight. Gonna need some time off, but he did not take crazy damage. So I'm not thinking too much time off. I'm also not thinking the Merab rematch. That's something I need to point out here. I don't think he showed enough to make me think that the Merab rematch goes any different. The scrambles Mario was doing, the moves he was pulling, the submission attempts he was going for. I know it's a little different of a matchup compared to Merab, but the fact is, Umar struggled a little. He still won, and he won clear. Don't get me wrong, but he got hurt. He got put down. It was a tough decision. He didn't dominate the grappling and show this different part of his game that we've never seen before. It was the same Umar. Mario put up a good fight, but that was the same Umar that fought Merab. Some time. If Merab beats Umar a second time, there's nothing at bantamweight ever again. So give Umar some time. I'd love to see if Jan loses to Merab, that they do Jan versus Umar, but that might leave us waiting too long. So I think there's some good options for Umar versus Davison Figueiredo. His face is all weirdly shaped here. Or Umar versus Song Yadong, who's now behind Davison Figueiredo's face. Which one would you guys like to see? I don't know. Song Yadong's the younger up-and-coming fighter, so I feel like he could pose more problems in terms of a improving fighter. But Davison Figueiredo had a stinker last fight, and he's getting older, and he's not looking any better in his own career. So it's not like I'd be too amped up to see Song Yadong. It's not like I'd be too amped up to see Umar beat Figueiredo and then say, oh, he's way better. Whereas I think if he finished Song Yadong, or had a really dominant grappling performance against Song Yadong, I'd be impressed. I think Song's more in his prime, more youthful. Get him in there against Umar Nurmagomedov. In China, maybe that could work on a China fight night main event, Umar versus Song Yadong. Then the winner can take on Merab. Because I don't know if I'm interested in Figueiredo versus Merab either. So I'm trying to think in terms of that perspective as well. Plus, if you look at the Sandhagen fights of Yadong and Figueiredo, much better performance from Song Yadong there as well. So, yeah, I would go with Umar Nurmagomedov versus Song Yadong. But if you guys think Figueiredo should get it, let me know. Volkov. What's next for Volkov? This is an interesting one to discuss because Alexander Volkov, what the fuck's next for Alexander Volkov? I have no idea what I've even picked out for him here. I was thinking maybe he could be the backup opponent for the rematch of Aspinall versus Gane, and that's how Dana could make things better for him. But I'd say do Alexander Volkov, if nothing else, someone he's lost to before, which justifies him having to fight them first. The Curtis Blades rematch. Blades coming off a win over Kuniev. Not the best performance, but they're two big names. Could be an Apex Fight Night main event next year. Could be on a pay-per-view card somewhere. No one really bat an eyelid at it, but it would be an interesting matchup. Volkov, Blades 2. Volkov redeems a loss before he goes into an Aspinall or a Gane matchup for a title. I need that. I need Volkov to redeem a loss. And we can put the two guys that saved us from jail to Almeida against each other. Plus, Blades did beat Volkov ages ago. And if there's a time to do a rematch, it might be now. I can't think of any other matchups for him. I feel like Pavlovich should bite the bullet when it comes to an upcoming Ante Delija or an upcoming someone else in the division because he's been a bit dull recently. So has Blades. But because Blades beat Volkov before and they haven't fought recently, this is the only other option I can think of. Volkov versus Blades 2. Maybe on the same card as Aspinall versus Gane, just for some relevancy. Because it'd be good to see maybe Volkov redeem a loss, or Blades redeem, or get back and beat Volkov, who's beaten Gane, to have some kind of narrative going into these potential title fights moving forward. So I think Volkov should fight Blades next in a rematch. We move on. Azamat Mirzakhanov. Jab KO of Alexander Rakic. Very quickly done. What I think should be next for him, and this is my plan, we kill Khalil Roundtree. No, I'm joking now. But we do. I think that's not a joke. I'd have matched these two up together. I think this would be a good matchup. They're both short, stocky guys for the division. Both explosive. Both on the same level. Fast, springy, athletic. This would be a good matchup. I know Khalil's been going through some wars recently, but I'm thinking, do I really want to see Khalil and Dominic Reyes fight out? I want something on the line every time. I want movement in the division. And I think there's something in the line for the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. I think there's Yuri versus Ankalaev. I think there's Allberg versus Pereira. But if the order changes and Pereira ends up fighting someone else, moving up, who knows? then we could be looking at a Yuri versus Ulberg for the title. Then Ankalaev needs an opponent of the winner of Blachowicz versus Guskov. So Azamat's good, but he did just beat Rakic, who's quite far down the rankings. Number 7, I believe. He's number 10. So I think him versus Khalil Roundtree would be like a short, explosive fight night main event of an Apex. I think people would watch that. People know of Azamat Mirzakhanov now. The casual fans know, based on his nasty KO after the height difference at the weigh-ins everyone was going on about. And Khalil Roundtree's known as well. And even though he took a lot of damage, he still switched on. It's not like he's left his prime based on the first 2 rounds that he had against Yuri. If Azamat puts out Khalil early, now you got a monster on your hands. If Khalil snaps Azamat's streak, he's back in the mix immediately, and you can start matching him up against some big fun names. That's what I would do next for Azamat Mirzakhanov. Quillan Salkilld. Killed Nasrat Haqparast in his name. I reckon you do Quillan Salkilld on that February pay-per-view card or numbered card on Paramount in Australia versus... I'm shifting the entire backdrop here. That's funny. I reckon you do him versus... Oh, we're doing it... Oh, this is really funny. I love it when this happens, guys. Hold on a second. Well, I've revealed half his face. It's Mauricio Huffy here, guys. I think Mauricio Huffy versus Quillan Salkilld is the matchup to make. Sick matchup as well. Quillan Salkilld, Mauricio Huffy. Huffy got ranked after losing to Benoit Saint-Denis. I have no idea why. He beat James Lontop, Jamie Malarkey, 2 bottom feeder fighters in the lightweight division. Lontop's not even in the UFC anymore. And then he beat Bobby Green. That doesn't get you number 15 ranked after it's gotten a few people ranked before. That diminishes in value. He lost to Benoit and got ranked number 15. He's not number 15. Him versus Quillan Salkilld in Australia on that Paramount card could justify a big spotlight position on the card. Maybe sneak it onto the main card as the only non-huge fight on the main card, but still some big matchup here between the two of them. Maybe a prelim headliner. But I'd love to see Quillan Salkilld versus Mauricio Huffy. And if you're looking for a grappling matchup or a striking matchup between 2 KO artists, look no further than this matchup right here. Quillan Salkilld versus Mauricio Huffy is the one to make. 100% in my opinion. That's a banger waiting to happen on a big Paramount card. So I'd get that one made. Plus, you just had Quillan Salkilld get a highlight reel KO, head kick, flatline. Mauricio Huffy's got flatline KOs as well. It's easy to market. They'd go back and forth a bit. I'd like to see it. Quillan Salkilld, Mauricio Huffy, get it done on a Paramount pay-per-view soon. In 2026, in February, I would book it. Walter Walker, we're not giving him the chocolate pepper pig. That's not what's happening. I'm giving him a different type of pig. We need to have Walter Walker hunt our fatties out of the heavyweight division. And we've got a fatty problem right now. And he's been dealing with a few of them, to be fair to him. So he's been doing the Lord's work. But there's more to be done. I want to see Walter Walker versus Marcin Tybura. Another pig needs a wrangling. We need to snap another ACL and get rid of them for good. This is the good thing about Walter Walker. When he beats people with this heel hook, he gets rid of them for good. I was going to match him up with Derek Lewis, but it might be a little too much too soon. Let's build these guys. I want a heavyweight contender on a win streak, like a crazy win streak. If Ante beats Waldo Cortez Acosta and then someone else, he's got 3 fights in the UFC. There's not much of a highlight reel. If Walter gets 5 heel hooks in a row, that's a marketable video that you can go for. And I think he could get it on Tybura, but Tybura does have good scrambles. He is a decent grappler. He's grappled with decent fighters before. So I feel like Tybura could be a problem. Like, he moves well on the ground. He knows what he's doing. It's not like he's never seen a heel hook before, like some of these other guys that Walter's putting it on. So this would be a good, approachable, up-and-coming test. He's coming off a loss to Ante Delija, probably on a similar schedule. I don't think we'll get Walter Walker on the Qatar card. Maybe we will, but after that, if he beats another fatty in Hamdi Abdul Wahab, then we can move him on against the Marcin Tyburas of the heavyweight division. Everyone needs a Tybura test now and then, but it's time for a ranked opponent for Walter Walker. I'm sick of him bullying these cans. That's final as well. Ikram Aliskerov. Great win from Ikram Aliskerov. Not a great win. Big performance. You know, he pulled it off with some adversity from Park Yun-yong, but not enough for me to be really shocked. But I think there's a narrative to be spun here. And I was looking at some of the ranked guys just outside the top 10. And I'm thinking there's a narrative of Dagestan versus Georgia. Okay, and I don't know when they're going to make that Umar versus Marab rematch. But if they do, We could also have Ikram Aliskerov versus Roman Dolidze on the same card, and I think that would do very well. I don't know how long Ikram's going to have off. I don't know how long Umar's going to go off. Maybe Umar can fight in January in Los Angeles. Who knows who's going to be on that card? We could do Umar versus Song Yudong in January. Maybe Ilya comes back, or Merab fights Yan in December, then comes back at the White House. Georgia versus Dagestan. We could have Ikram Aliskerov versus Roman Dolidze. Maybe they would be on their own pay-per-view card. But I think there's some correlation there. There's some promotability to the Dagestan-Georgia thing going on. So I think they should do this. Ikram Aliskerov, Roman Dolidze. Couldn't think of anything else. I was thinking maybe the winner of Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov. I don't know what condition the winner's going to be in. That could be a scrap. So I'm thinking this could be next. And I think Roman might want that as well, because I feel like these Georgians and Dagestanis are getting a bit beefy with each other. So there could be some fun build-up between them there as well. Maybe even on the Ilya Topuria card, if he fights an Armand Sarukian. There seems to be that rivalry where every Makhachev fan's now an Armand fan, and every Jones fan's now a Gane fan. We have this shift over a lot where they just move on to the next guy that could represent them into someone more similar to them. You know, they just sort of move on to the next guy to be a fan of. So I think Ikram Aliskerov, Roman Dolidze is the move. Nathaniel Wood, in all fairness, did not beat Jose Delgado. But there and again, he outlanded him by about 5 significant strikes in the third round and a couple in the second round as well. So he dominated him. He was busting him up in that round, guys, because that's how it works now based on the main events evaluation from our peers. But Nathaniel Wood went through a lot of trouble. He called out Patricio Pitbull on the mic, and Pitbull said, yes, I'm down, but I'm not waiting until March. Nathaniel Wood said he'll be back in March. Pitbull said, let's do it a bit sooner. Are you ready in Los Angeles? Maybe they could meet in the middle in February. Nathaniel Wood was talking about how he doesn't have many fights left and he's getting to the prime of his career. He just wants to be the guy to be like, well, I risked it and it worked for me. He never wants to be the guy to think, I left the sport when I could have been something. I could have taken that risk. I could have taken that gamble. And if Pitbull's calling him out, Nathaniel Wood versus Pitbull sounds like a sick fight to me. Let's make Nathaniel Wood versus Patricio Pitbull a huge matchup. Make it happen. And they called each other out, which makes it way, way easier. So the February pay-per-view prelims, Nathaniel Wood versus Patricio Pitbull, 2 shorter, stockier featherweights going at it. Very technical guys, the pair of them. And I think Nathaniel Wood should sort of try and be active here on behalf of Pitbull, because Pitbull's sort of taken these contenders and, you know, Lucien Keita fucked him about, didn't even make weight, even though Pitbull took it on short notice, flew to near his home backyard in France and took the fight against a guy he didn't even need to fight. Now he's looking for this in Nathaniel Wood. So it tells me that Pitbull's not getting big ranked opponents. He's not getting the names that he wants. So he just wants to stay active against someone who will fight him. And if Nathaniel Wood's willing, I think he should step in at the end of this year. Or not in the end of this year, in February. Maybe on the Australia pay-per-view. Who knows? Maybe on a fight night card. In Vegas, in the Apex, somewhere high up on a fight night card. Even though Nathaniel Wood won a robbery, he's been robbed twice before in his career. Swings and roundabouts. What goes around comes around, guys. Eventually you get one for yourself. I think Nathaniel Wood should get a ranked opponent. Charles Jourdain win. It's a big win in hindsight. Nathaniel Wood versus Pitbull is the matchup to make. Plus he beat Morgan Charrier. I think he's ranked number 17 on Ranking MMA. He's up there. He's got a good win streak at featherweight if you include this one and take out the Naimov brutal robbery. Kind of balances things out. So I think Nathaniel Wood, Pitbull should be the fight. Pitbull's willing, so why not run it? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip, I'll see you later. Run back Aspinall Gane, and we will right the wrong that was UFC 321. And then everyone will shut their mouths once again. I'm telling you, dude. 5 months. March. We're talking. We put it all on the line and we fix what went wrong. Dust him up in 3 minutes. Like and subscribe. Goodbye. Oh, I missed the button. See ya.